10 years of loyalty ended with a single email thread. I still remember the exact moment everything fell apart. It was a Tuesday morning, and I was presenting our quarterly marketing strategy to the entire executive team at Hamilton and Reed Advertising. The PowerPoint slides I'd spent weeks perfecting glowed behind me as I outlined our vision for the upcoming campaigns. That's when Marcus Hamilton, CEO and my boss of 10 years, burst into the conference room, his face an alarming shade of red. "Julia Chen," he interrupted, his voice trembling with barely contained rage, "would you care to explain this?" He slapped a stack of papers onto the gleaming mahogany table. I recognized them immediately. The Morrison account documents. Our biggest client, a $2 million annual contract that I'd helped secure 3 years ago. "I'm not sure what you mean," I said carefully, aware of the 20 pairs of eyes watching this exchange. "The Morrison campaign is proceeding exactly as planned." "As planned?" Marcus's laugh was sharp enough to cut glass. "Is this what you call planned?" He jabbed his finger at a line item in the budget spreadsheet. The blood drained from my face as I saw the error. Someone had misplaced a decimal point in the media buy calculations. Instead of $200,000, we committed to spending $2 million on regional television spots. The mistake had already gone through to the client. But that wasn't my error. I knew exactly whose it was. "Marcus," I said quietly, "we should discuss this in private. I can explain." "Oh, there's nothing to discuss," he cut me off. "You've single-handedly cost this company millions. Did you think I wouldn't notice? Did you think you could just slip this past me?" My mind raced back to 3 weeks ago when I first drafted those numbers. I'd sent them to Marcus for approval, as I always did. He'd made some adjustments and sent them back. The decimal point had been correct in my original draft. "Check your email," I started to say, but he wasn't listening. "You're fired," he announced to the silent room. "Clear out your desk immediately. Security will escort you out." "Marcus, please," I tried again. "Just look at the email thread. You can see." I said, "You're fired," he roared. "Get out before I have you thrown out." 10 years. 10 years of 60-hour weeks, missed vacations, and sacrificed weekends. 10 years of building Hamilton and Reed's client base from a modest local agency to a regional powerhouse. 10 years of mentoring junior staff, crafting award-winning campaigns, and earning the trust of some of the biggest brands in the Midwest. All ended because Marcus Hamilton couldn't admit his own mistake. I walked out of that conference room with my head held high, even as whispers followed me down the corridor. My team, the people I'd hired, trained, and led, watched in shocked silence as I packed up my desk. Photos of successful campaign launches, awards we'd won together, even the vintage advertising posters I collected over the years, all went into a cardboard box under the watchful eye of Dave from security. "I'm sorry, Julia," Dave muttered as he walked me to the door. "This isn't right." "No," I agreed. "It's not." At home, I poured myself a generous glass of wine and opened the laptop. There it was, in black and white, the email thread that proved my innocence. I'd sent Marcus the correct figures. He'd adjusted them, introducing the decimal point error, then approved them for client distribution. All time-stamped, all documented in our company's email system. My phone buzzed with messages from colleagues. "This is insane. Everyone knows you're the backbone of this place. Marcus has lost his mind. The clients trust you, not him. What can we do? This isn't fair." But it was my sister Rachel's message that really made me think. "Remember when you helped me start my bakery? You said the best revenge is massive success. Time to take your own advice, sis." She was right. I'd spent a decade making Marcus Hamilton look good, building his company's reputation while he took the credit. I knew every client, every campaign strategy, every industry connection. More importantly, I knew every mistake he'd made. Not just this one, but all of them. My hands shook slightly as I created a new folder on my desktop, Phoenix Marketing Solutions. Then I started to plan. First, I documented everything. Every email, every strategy document, every client interaction from the past 10 years. I'd always been methodical about record keeping, a habit that was about to pay off. Next, I reviewed my non-compete agreement. It was surprisingly weak. Marcus had never expected me to leave, so he'd never updated it from my initial contract 10 years ago. It only restricted me from working with current clients for 6 months. Nothing about pursuing new business or contacting former clients. Then I made 3 phone calls. The first was to Lisa Martinez, our former creative director who left 6 months ago after clashing with Marcus. She now ran a successful freelance business. Julia, she answered on the first ring. I just heard what happened. That bastard. Lisa, I said, how would you like to get the band back together? The second call was to Tom Chen, no relation, our former technical director who Marcus had pushed out last year. Tom had built our entire digital infrastructure and knew exactly how Marcus cut corners on cybersecurity. I'm in, he said before I could even finish explaining. I've been waiting for someone to take him down. The final call was to James Morrison himself, CEO of Morrison Industries and our biggest client. His secretary put me through immediately. Julia, his familiar voice was concerned. I just got a very strange email from Marcus about staffing changes. Want to tell me what's really going on? I took a deep breath. James, I think it's time you knew exactly how your advertising budget is being managed. Can we meet? The next morning, I sat in my home office reviewing the documents I compiled. The Morrison account error was just the tip of the iceberg. There were inflated media buys where Marcus pocketed the difference, creative work billed to multiple clients, expense reports that would make an IRS auditor salivate. My phone buzzed, a text from my former assistant Katie. You need to know something. Marcus is in full panic mode. He just called an all-hands meeting and told everyone you're trying to sabotage the company. But then the Morrison team called asking for copies of all invoices for the past year. He completely lost it. I smiled, remembering another thing my sister had said when she started her bakery. Success isn't just about being good at what you do. It's about being ready when opportunity knocks. Well, opportunity wasn't just knocking. It was breaking down the door. The next 3 months were a blur of activity, while Marcus Hamilton was desperately trying to maintain control of his crumbling empire. I was building something new from its ashes. Lisa Martinez brought her entire freelance creative team to Phoenix Marketing Solutions. Tom Chen designed our digital infrastructure to be everything Hamilton and Reed's wasn't: secure, transparent, and efficient. We set up shop in a converted warehouse space that cost a third of Marcus's prestigious downtown offices, but had triple the creative energy. Word spread quickly in the industry. Former colleagues started reaching out, tired of Marcus's toxic leadership and looking for a fresh start. Katie, my former assistant, was our first official hire, now promoted to account manager, a position she deserved for years, but Marcus had always blocked. He's going crazy, Katie reported during our first week. 3 more clients have requested full audits of their accounts. The Morrison team is going through everything with a fine-tooth comb. I focused on building Phoenix the right way, documenting every decision, every transaction, every client interaction with meticulous care. When your reputation has been attacked, transparency becomes your best defense. Then came the cease and desist letter. Ms. Chen, it read, it has come to our attention that you are attempting to interfere with Hamilton and Reed's business relationships. The legal threats went on for 3 pages. I forwarded it to my lawyer, Amanda Wong, who'd been waiting for this moment. Perfect, she said during our emergency meeting. He just opened the door for our countersuit. How's the documentation coming? I handed her a USB drive. Everything from the past 10 years. Every email, every altered invoice, every manipulated media buy, including proof that Marcus personally changed the Morrison account numbers and then tried to blame me. Amanda's smile was predatory. Let's go hunting. The next week, several things happened in rapid succession. First, James Morrison called an emergency meeting with Hamilton and Reed's executive team. According to Katie's sources, he demanded a complete audit of every invoice from the past 3 years. Second, 3 of Marcus's remaining top clients received anonymous emails containing proof of systematic overbilling on their accounts. I hadn't sent those emails, but I had a good idea who did. Tom Chen had always been creative with information distribution. Third, the local business journal ran a feature on Phoenix Marketing Solutions, highlighting our transparent billing practices and innovative client relationships. The reporter somehow had access to documents showing the contrast between our approach and typical industry practices, specifically Hamilton and Reed's practices. Marcus's response was predictable. He called an all-hands meeting at Hamilton and Reed and announced that I was under investigation for corporate espionage. He claimed I had stolen confidential documents before leaving and was using them to sabotage the company. What he didn't know was that we'd been waiting for exactly this accusation. Amanda filed our countersuit the next morning. The evidence was devastating, not just the email thread proving Marcus had made the Morrison account error, but years of documented financial manipulation. We included statements from former employees about his pattern of scapegoating others for his mistakes. But the real bomb dropped during the Morrison audit. James Morrison himself called me on a Wednesday afternoon. "Julia," he said, his voice tight with controlled anger. "We've found some interesting patterns in our billing records. Would you be willing to testify about what you know?" "Actually," I replied, "I have something better than testimony." I sent him a single email, one I'd saved for 3 years, in which Marcus explicitly directed me to adjust the media buy numbers and bill the difference to a shell company he controlled. I'd never acted on that direction, which had earned me months of subtle harassment, but I kept the email, just in case. The next day, Morrison Industries filed a $10 million lawsuit against Hamilton and Reed for fraudulent billing practices. Marcus's empire began to crumble faster than anyone expected. Other clients followed Morrison's lead, conducting their own audits. Former employees came forward with similar stories of fraud and retaliation. The local business community, which had once celebrated Marcus as a marketing genius, now shunned him at every turn. Through it all, Phoenix Marketing Solutions grew. We didn't just take Hamilton and Reed's clients. We transformed how they thought about advertising. Transparent billing, real metrics, creative work that actually served the client's needs rather than just winning awards. 6 months after my humiliating dismissal, I sat in my new office reviewing our latest quarterly reports. Phoenix had just landed our 10th major client, a national retail chain that had never worked with Hamilton and Reed. Liz's creative team was producing their best work ever. Tom's digital systems were becoming the industry standard for transparency and security. A knock at my door interrupted my thoughts. Katie stood there, barely containing her excitement. "You need to see this," she said, handing me her tablet. It was an article from the local business journal, Hamilton and Reed advertising files for bankruptcy amid fraud allegations. The photo showed Marcus leaving the federal courthouse, his face ashen, dodging reporters' questions. "There's more," Katie said, swiping to another article. "The FBI is investigating the shell companies, and guess who's cooperating with the investigation? His own board of directors." I set down the tablet, feeling strangely empty. This was victory, yes, but it wasn't just about revenge anymore. Phoenix had become something bigger than that. A chance to change how things were done in our industry. My phone buzzed with a text from James Morrison. "Meeting tomorrow to discuss expanding our partnership. Bring your big ideas. And Julia, thank you for showing us there's a better way to do business." I walked to the window of our office, looking out at the city skyline. Somewhere out there, Marcus Hamilton was facing the consequences of his actions. But I wasn't thinking about him anymore. I was thinking about the 25 people who now depended on Phoenix for their livelihoods. About the clients who trusted us to do right by them. About the industry we were helping to transform. Later that evening, as I was leaving the office, I passed the wall where we'd hung our company values: transparency, creativity, integrity. Below them was a quote I'd chosen personally: "Success is the best revenge, but integrity is the best foundation." Katie was waiting by my door with a stack of papers. "The new client contracts are ready for review," she said. "And the team wanted you to know. We're ordering dinner in tomorrow. Everyone's staying late to work on the Morrison expansion proposal." I smiled, remembering all those late nights at Hamilton and Reed, working alone while Marcus took the credit. Now I was surrounded by people who shared my vision, my values, my commitment to doing things right. "Order from that new chai place," I told her. "And Katie, thank you for everything." "No," she said, grinning. "Thank you for taking me with you." As I drove home that night, I thought about the email thread that had started it all. A simple decimal point that had revealed so much about character and leadership. Marcus had taught me everything about how not to run a company. Now I was teaching others how to do it right. My phone buzzed one last time, a message from Lisa. "Just saw the news about H&R. Remember what you told me when I joined Phoenix? We're not here to get even. We're here to get better. Mission accomplished, boss." She was right. The best revenge wasn't just about watching your enemies fall. It was about rising so high that they became irrelevant to your story. Phoenix have risen from the ashes of my career at Hamilton and Reed, but we built something more valuable than revenge. A legacy of integrity, innovation, and real success. Sometimes the worst endings lead to the best beginnings. You just have to be brave enough to spread your wings and fly.